Vauxhall is hoping to increase its presence in the compact estate sector with this 8th generation Astra Sports Tourer. SUVs and MPVs might offer more interesting options for family buyers, but the solid practical virtues of a good estate are not to be underestimated. This one's cleaner, more frugal, more practical, higher tech and sharper to look at than ever before. It's a better package all round, aided by French derived underpinnings which also bring the option of electrification. When what you need to fit in your car just won't, you need a bigger car. Family hatchback owners confronted with this nightmare scenario have a number of options at their disposal. They could take the rugged route with a compact SUV, choose the versatility of a compact MPV, or step up to a medium-range saloon. Alternatively, they could turn to an extended version of the family hatchback they already have. The estate car isn't the trendiest or most exciting option, but when you need a little bit more room, it does the job. Vauxhall's Astra Sports Tourer is little more than an extended Astra hatch, but it could be all the car you need, especially in this 8th generation form. Many of the leading lights in the family hatchback sector have an estate version. Focus, Golf, Peugeot 308, the manufacturers of all these models see the value of tagging another few centimetres onto the rear of the 5-door hatches that they make in order to give customers the option of extra carriage capacity. Vauxhall has a history of following suit with its Astra, but like its rivals, sales of Astra estates have traditionally been way down on those of the standard hatchback versions. The compact estate market looks likely to remain a niche one, but with flashy sports tourer branding, this revitalised 8th generation Astra estate could be destined to take a bigger slice of it. Want to find out more? Then you'll need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. It's refreshing to find when you set off down the road in this Vauxhall that this Astra Sports Tourer feels significantly different to the Peugeot 308 SW it's almost entirely based upon. We were hoping it might, and had quite high expectations for just how good this 8th generation model might be to drive, given that its predecessor was severely underrated in this regard. Now true, there's not the rewarding depth of handling prowess that you get in this class in a Ford Focus or Seat Leon estate, but we reckon this Astra still qualifies as best of the rest if you like your driving, mating the fluid gait that you get with its Peugeot cousin with a slightly sharper feel. That's partly down to a bit more steering feedback and partly down to fractionally firmer damping, though this Vauxhall rumbles a little over porous surfaces as a result. It doesn't feel as troubled by them as the old model did though, partly because of the 14% improvement in torsional stiffness this time round. As for powertrains, well, prior to the launch of this 8th generation design, we'd never had an Astra with Stellantis Group Peugeot and Citroën derived engines. We have now. This change, necessitated by the switch to this Mark III model's EMP2 platform, doesn't bring any particular advantages in performance or economy over the previous General Motors units, but it does at least allow this model line to offer an electrified option. Most of the engines are of the conventional kind though. At the time of this test in autumn 2023, Stellantis hadn't yet bothered with the mild hybrid tech that you'll find on competing Ford, Mazda and VW Group models, which meant that as we filmed, most Astra Sports Tourers were still being sold with a 3-cylinder 1.2 litre petrol turbo unit. There are 110 and 130 PS options. Whatever your choice, it'll come with a 6-speed manual gearbox with an automatic auto and option on the 130 PS model. This Astra's electrified engine technology comes in the form of the plug-in hybrid PHEV tech that we're trying here, mating a 4-cylinder 1.6 litre petrol turbo unit with a 110 PS motor embedded in the 8-speed auto gearbox. There's a choice of two versions of this plug-in hybrid powertrain, one with a combined output of 180 PS, the other fitted to the sportier GSE variants with 225 PS. Those GSC models feature sharper steering and firmer lowered suspension. Either way, expect an EA/ER rated all-electric driving range of around 42 miles. Your other option is the full EV Astra Sports Tourer Electric, which has a 154 horsepower motor powered by a 400 watt 54 kilowatt hour battery with a driving range of around 250 miles. Across the range, automated driver assistance systems include adaptive cruise control, which increases or decreases speed to follow the vehicle ahead and can brake to a standstill if necessary. With the automatic transmission, driving resumes automatically thanks to a stop and go function. More unusual in segment terms is the availability of a head-up display, and on top spec models you get intelligent matrix style IntelliLux LED headlamps with clever pixel light technology. The Stellantis generation Astra is without doubt a sharper looking thing, and it makes an assertive car park statement in this sports tourer form. For sure, this car would fit perfectly in a narrow New York alley. Whether it works as well in a British village is another question. If you like it though, you'll really like it. Now, this isn't one of those compact estates that's hardly any larger than the family hatch it's based upon. Measuring in at 4,642 millimeters long, this Astra Sports Tourer is a full 268 millimeters longer than the hatch model, though it's 60 millimeters shorter than the previous generation version thanks to the short front overhangs. Silver roof rails feature, and wheel sizes are between 16 and 18 inches. The glossy black finish 17-inch rims of this mid-level GS spec model will certainly be challenging to keep clean. From the front, this is an Astra dynamic as never before, with sheer taut surfaces detoxed of superfluous elements, and proudly sporting the brand's most notable current styling feature, the so-called Vauxhall visor, this narrow black grille plate that flows across into equally narrow, ultra-slim LED headlamps. The rear is perhaps this sports tourer model's most visually challenging perspective point, but this subtle roof spoiler looks smart. Fitting with the car's compass theme, its upper tip features this curious vertically aligned high-mounted brake light, which is supposed visually to intersect between the tail lights and the central griffin emblem. Let's take a seat at the wheel and see if Vauxhall and its German Opel partner brand have done an equally successful job of giving this rejuvenated Astra Sports Tourer its own identity inside. Here, the job of differentiation was much more difficult. Vauxhall calls this front-of-cabin experience a leap forward in time, and whatever your view on this rather slab-sided Pure Panel Pro twin screen layout, it's difficult to disagree. As well as analog dials being dispensed with, there's no conventional hooded instrument binnacle, and on the automatic model, no recognisable gear stick either. You're going to need to be a fan of shiny, dark piano black plastic to like the futuristic cabin vibe, and we're not completely convinced by some elements of material quality, but it's all been very well screwed together by the German Rüsselsheim factory, and the dual 10-inch displays do a pretty good job of telling you what you need to know. The instrument screen configurable via the end of this left-hand indicator stalk. This center monitor incorporates wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, plus if you avoid base trim, you get an IntelliVision 360-degree panoramic parking camera too. You sit lower down than in the previous generation model, and we particularly like the seats. Above base trim, the driver's chair posture has been designed for certification approval from the German Aktion Gesunder Rücken EV organisation, who campaign across Europe for aids to healthier backs. There's plenty of cabin storage too, though the main compartments between the seats are concealed by rubberized sliding covers which easily mark up. The one at the base of the centre stack covers twin USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket. Further back between the seats, there are covered cup holders and a twin-lidded box. With this sporty GS spec model, red slashes on the door cards and on the passenger side of the dash lift the rather dark cabin ambience a little. Right, time to take a look in the rear. Because the wheelbase of this Sports Tourer model is 57mm longer than the hatch it's based upon, you'd expect a little more legroom in the back. But once inside, the extra wheelbase length isn't very evident, though there's certainly a little more space for your knees than you get in a comparably engineered Peugeot 308 SW. It still feels a touch more cramped than the class norm though. The increase in body width this time round makes it a fraction easier to take a third central passenger should the need arise, but as with most cars in this class, it'd be a bit of a squash. As you'd expect, a central armrest with integrated cup holders is provided, plus you get overhead reading lights and a central USB-C port with vents above and a cubby below. Right, let's finish with a look in the boot, accessed via a loading height of 600mm. Once the manual tailgate is raised, up to 608 litres of useful storage space is revealed with the rear seats upright like this. It's 548 litres for this plug-in hybrid model or for the full electric version. Petrol and diesel variants get the brand's IntelliSpace feature, which gives you a movable load floor that can be easily adjusted with one hand to high and low positions and tilted at a 45-degree angle. In addition, for more convenience, the retractable boot storage cover can be stowed when the movable floor is in both the upper as well as the lower position, in contrast to competitors that only allow storage of the cover when the floor is in the upper position. Now, the Astra Sports Tourer with IntelliSpace can also make life easier in the event of a flat tyre. The kits for tyre repair and first aid are stored in clever underfloor compartments that can be accessed from the boot or the rear passenger seating area. This means that the kits can be reached without needing to fully unpack the boot. What else? Well, there are netted storage areas to the left and to the right, a light and a 12-volt socket on the right and a bag hook on the left. For the times when you might want to slide long items like skis in between a couple of rear-seated passengers, Vauxhall provides a convenient 40-20-40 split rear seat back. And when you need to fold the rear bench completely flat, you can do so via these sidewall catches. Once everything's retracted, you'll get a cargo floor that's completely flat, offering up to 1,636 litres in the conventional models or up to 1,574 litres in this plug-in hybrid version or in the full electric model. You might have to recalibrate a bit to get used to the prices being asked for this Astra Sports Tourer. It only costs £1,200 more than the hatch versions, which seems reasonable given the substantial increase in body length. But as we filmed in autumn 2023, Vauxhall was being required by parent company the Stellantis Group to ask from around £28,000 for the humblest version. That's with base design trim and a conventional 1.2 litre petrol engine. There's no longer any diesel option. It's more likely though that you'll want a mid-range GS spec model like this one. Think starting prices from around £30,000 as we filmed, with plush ultimate spec at the top of the range. Automatic transmission is available with the 130 PS version of the 1.2 litre engine for an extra £1,500. Here we've chosen to test one of the plug-in hybrid variants, for which a big jump in asking fee is required. They started from around £40,000 as we filmed for the base GS variant that we're trying here. Ultimate and sporty GSE specs sit above that. The full electric version shares the same three trim levels as the conventionally engined model. That's Design, GS and Ultimate, but is priced comparably to this plug-in hybrid. Across the range, as you'd hope, given the pricing, you can expect plenty of equipment for the money, with standard features like LED headlights with high beam assist, rain sensitive wipers and cruise control. You'll be able to specify your Astra Sports Tourer with larger wheels, up to 18 inches in diameter, and above base trim you get a two-tone paint finish. That means a contrast coloured roof. Avoid base trim and you'll find that the driver's seat, developed in-house, is certified by the AGR, a German organisation who campaign for healthier backs, and it claims to be exceedingly comfortable for long journeys. Cabin screen tech is provided by the car's Pure Panel Pro tech, which gives you twin 10-inch displays for the instruments and the infotainment. The latter monitor includes natural voice recognition and standard wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring. And there's the Vauxhall Connect smartphone app, so that you can include various aspects of your Astra Sports Tourer's operation from your handset. On to driver assist features. This Astra now features most of the basic camera safety items you'd these days expect from an estate of this class. So, lane departure warning with lane keeping assist is standardised across the lineup, as is traffic sign recognition, which can work with the car's speed limit recognition system to stop you exceeding posted limits. There's also in-crash braking, which will brake the car after an impact so that you're less likely to go on and hit something else. You also get driver attention alert to warn you if drowsiness is detected, and a forward collision alert feature that gives you close obstacle detection that stops you hitting things at low speeds, and also at higher ones if you avoid base trim. And unlike with a base spec Peugeot 308 SW, even a base spec design trimmed Astra Sports Tourer comes with the high beam assist system that we mentioned earlier to automatically dip your headlights for you at night. With top ultimate spec, those headlamps are of the state-of-the-art LED pixel kind. Like all modern cars these days, there's an SOS safety system which will alert the emergency services with your exact GPS location if the airbags go off. There are 8 airbags, by the way. Of course, across the range, all the other usual passive safety features come included. Twin Isofix child seat fittings for the rear bench, front seat safety headrests, hill start assist, ESP stability control, and ABS with automatic hazard light activation for heavy braking. The Peugeot and Citroën derived PureTech engines in use here have already proven to be extremely efficient in other Stellantis Group cars we've tried them in, and of course the same is true of this Astra Sports Tourer. Efficiency is about 5% down on the comparable lighter Astra hatch. Think 50.4 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 125 grams per kilometre of CO2 for both versions of the 1.2 litre turbo petrol engine with manual transmission. It's 49.6 miles to the gallon and 128 grams per kilometre of CO2 for the 1.2 litre turbo 130 PS auto. Now, these figures are helped by this 8th generation Astra's relatively light weight gained through use of high-tech materials like the latest thermoplastics. Low rolling resistance tyres also play their part. Combustion engines, though, are soon to be no more in Vauxhalls. The brand will sell only EVs from 2028. For the time being, though, the Astra's electrification is varied. Your first option lies with the PHEV tech we're trying here. Opt for either of the 2 plug-in hybrid drivetrains, and as we mentioned in our driving experience section, up to 42 miles of EA/ER rated battery running is claimed, while CO2 is rated at 23 grams per kilometre. From a household plug, both PHEV versions will be replenished in just over 7 hours. You'll find a 3.7 kilowatt single-phase charging supported as standard, which means that recharges will take 3 hours and 50 minutes. A 7.4 kilowatt onboard charger is available as an option, and plugged into a wall box, the battery will take 1 hour and 50 minutes to be topped up. The plug-in hybrid Astra Sports Tourer variants offer a thermal preconditioning function too. Of course, you'll need to allow longer to charge if you choose the full EV versions of this car, the Astra Sports Tourer Electric. This has a 400-volt battery with 50 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity, 54 kilowatt-hours gross, and should go around 250 miles between charges. Those charging times hadn't been confirmed at the time of the making of this film, but we wouldn't expect them to be much different from those of the brand's smaller Corsa Electric, which uses an older generation version of the same battery. That would mean a full charge from empty taking about 7.5 hours. And with a public 50 kilowatt rapid charger, the replenishment time to charge from 15 to 80% being 45 minutes. If you're fortunate enough to find a 100 kilowatt rapid charger with your Astra Sports Tourer electric, that would fall to around 30 minutes. With all the other options facing family car buyers in the modern marketplace, the compact estate car is sometimes overlooked. Admittedly, it's not the most exciting option next to the plethora of tough-looking compact SUVs and MPVs with their elaborate seating arrangements, but it is reassuringly simple in what it offers and surprisingly practical too. Vauxhall's revitalised Astra Sports Tourer seems to fit the bill very nicely in this regard, especially in this latest 8th generation form with its extra efficiency, greater connectivity and sharper looks. If you're in the market for a car of this kind, it should be on your shopping list.